Sammy alluded to something today that I thought was quite important when he said partnerships are important. I will take it even, I would like to take it a step further and say partnerships wins championships. And that is what we have seen from the West Indies team in the last two matches and two of the most important matches in the group phase for them. Partnerships between Sherfain Rutherford and Akil Hussein. Partnerships between Sherfain Rutherford and Alzari Joseph. The partnership between Rutherford and Romario Shepherd. The partnership between Rutherford and Gudakesh Moti against New Zealand. Even though those weren't big partnerships, they were small but vital and gave us a chance. That's what it did. It gave us a score that was defendable. Because when you look at the end of it, where New Zealand ended up, you see how vital those little partnerships at the back end were. And what was more impressive to me was the way how Rutherford shepherded the back end of that innings. And that is the type of leadership that we need to see from West Indian batsmen. Someone to often say, hey, I am going to do it. Put their hands up and accept the responsibility. Let's go back to last night's game. And we had partnerships from 1 through, I think it was 5. I'm not going to count Russell and Rutherford's part of it. But when you look at the start that we got, 22, while it is not anything big, but I think it was within less than 2 overs, we had 22 runs. Then we had Johnson Charles and Nicholas Pooran who put on 80. And when Charles went, it was just at the end of the 8th over. That was followed up by Pooran and Hope, 35. Now, that is not big, but in the context of what was happening, that was a very important partnership. That led to continuity. And then we look at Pooran and Powell. They finished up really, really well. That was, I think, was a 64-run partnership. And that, if West Indies are going to put up scores or defend scores, or chase down, I should say, this is the template. Partnerships. 1 through 6. Partnerships. They don't have to be anything big, but they have to be meaningful. And that is what we saw last night. We saw Nicholas Pooran putting his hands up and saying, I'm going to try and bat almost 20 overs because that is what was available to him. And that was what was impressive. Other than, I think, one stroke, his first 6, that flew off the top edge. I don't think he put a foot wrong after that, other than when he got run out. And I really, really love that about him. And one thing about this World Cup, what we've seen, even though the first 2 games, the batting performance wasn't impressive, but what we've seen is someone stood up and put their hands up. In the first game, it was Roston Chase. The third game, it was Sherfain Rutherford. I can't remember who it was in the second game against Uganda. Oh, Johnson Charles in the second game against Uganda. But in every game, we've had someone stand up and put their hands up. What was most important in the last 2 games was more than one person saying, hey, I'm going to help you lift the load. Because I know you can't carry this load by yourself. You're going to need some help. And that is what impressed me last night when West Indies played Afghanistan. I was more worried about this game than I was about the New Zealand game. Because when you look at the bowling attack that Afghanistan have and what they were doing, even though the games against Papua New Guinea and Uganda, you expected them to do that. But the way how they destroyed New Zealand, that was quite impressive. And that is what put some amount of worry in me as to how West Indies will cope. And the way how we responded to that Afghanistan attack, I thought it was phenomenal. What has really shown for West Indies, though, in this tournament is what the ability of our bowling attack to handle business. And once again, the guys came out last night and handled business. Akil Hussain looks like a brand new bowler as compared to the one that we saw against South Africa in the warm-up in Jamaica. Gudakesh Moti is on another planet. He's on a planet by himself. He is bowling absolutely beautiful. Alzarri Joseph is a bit up and down, but that is what you're going to get with him. He's still taking wickets. Andre Russell is doing Andre Russell things. And I was truly impressed with that spell from Obed McCoy last night. Obed McCoy looks like the Obed McCoy of two and a half years ago. And if I were Darren Sammy, and I'm looking at tomorrow's game against England, this is the team I'm sending out there. As much as I would love to have Roston Chase, 6 bowler, his ability to bat in the middle overs, this is the team I'm sending out. Obed McCoy retains his spot. Those are the 2 changes I will maintain. Obed McCoy retains his spot. To have Russell and Shepherd in the same team, it's kind of a luxury. As much as Shepherd can bring some hard hitting in the lower order, and on his day he's a very good bowler, I think right now, in this moment, Sheppy is a luxury. And if I were Darren Sammy and Rovman Powell, I would say, hey Sheppy, we're going with the same lineup like that we did against Afghanistan. I think at this phase right now in the Super 8s, this is the lineup that would bring us the success that we need. We need a Shea Hope in our batting lineup. We need a Shea Hope in our batting lineup. And he proved that last night. If I had my way, he'll be batting at the top of the order with Brandon King. We know who sits. But to have both him and Chase in the same lineup, I think it brings an issue of balance. So you can't have both of them. And I think what showed up last night, and the fact of the matter that both Akil Hussain and Gudakesh Moti are bowling beautifully, I don't think there's too much to worry about there. Andre Russell is doing his job. Alzarri Joseph is doing his job. Obed McCoy showed last night that he can do his job. So I don't think there's too many worries there. I would send that same 11 back out to play tomorrow against England. So here's a recap. Partnerships wins championships, right? If West Indies, this is the business end of the tournament now. If West Indies are going to advance, they're going to have to beat England and South Africa. And the partnerships are going to be vital. The Akil Hussain, Gudakesh Moti partnership, the Russell, Alzarri, Obed McCoy partnership is going to be vital. Likewise, the opening partnerships and what happens in between overs number 7 to 15 when we are batting. Because when you're looking at Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, Adil Rashid, Moeen Ali, this is our first true test. Anyways, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. I am your host, Kevin Henry, for the Top of Off Cricket Podcast.